Welcome to Ancient Wild TV, where the past comes to life in hitherto unthinkable ways. Consider a wild African safari to be horrifying. As yet, you have not seen anything. Prepare to travel millions of years when creatures dominated the earth, heavens, and seas. These critters ruled, not only survived. Hold on tight, this prehistoric trip throughout ancient Africa will make the modern world seem to be a secure refuge. How terrifying would an untamed African safari be? Prepare to be amazed if you're at a loss for words. Put yourself on a similar safari a few thousand or perhaps millions of years ago. You could have a heart attack right then and there. Believe me when I say that could be the simplest option. Some of the world's deadliest animals call Africa home. There is no place to relax here, what with 5,000-pound rhinos, Africa's largest lions, and the 3,000-plus people killed each year by Nile crocodiles. The cunning killers, such as the tsetse fly, which spreads African sleeping sickness, and the ubiquitous mosquito, which is both hazardous and unpleasant, need no introduction. Black mamba, though, is the final nail. The venom of just one bite from this snake can kill 12 adult males in about 1 hour. If that is the appearance of modern-day Africa, just think of how scary it must have been when prehistoric animals were far less common. The good news is that it's not something you have to imagine. If you're up for the adventure, we're going to take you on a private tour of ancient Africa. First up, we have a monster that is up there with the most unusual ones here. But I must caution you, you may develop a fear of frogs as a result of this. Meanwhile, the devil frog is likely new to you. During the late Cretaceous period, approximately 66 to 70 million years ago, ancient Madagascar was inhabited by Beelzebufo, a huge amphibian also called the devil frog, or the frog from hell. We are indeed discussing a frog, but this one looks like it got a shot of steroids. An amphibian behemoth, this huge frog could reach a weight of about 10 pounds, 4.5 kilograms, and a length of 16 inches, 41 centimeters. One thing that stands out though, whether for defense or display, that enormous head adorned with a remarkable skull shield is truly remarkable. As if it weren't horrifying enough, the skull showed wrinkles that could have been caused by bony scales or thick skin plates. However, a portal to hell was concealed within that magnificent skull. The bite force of Beelzebufo, with its enormous jaws and large mouth, was probably between 500 and 2,200 newtons. This made it an ideal predator of lizards, tiny vertebrates, and even juvenile dinosaurs, among other larger prey. Even if it munched on prehistoric animals, Beelzebufo was still only a frog. Here we have the scary hyena, the creature most likely to bring tears to your eyes. About 1.5 million years ago, a terrifying predator called Pachycrocuta swung over Africa and Eurasia. Other names for this beast include big hyena and short-faced hyena. Just picture a larger, more terrifying version of a modern hyena. Pachycrocuta was the giant of hyenas, reaching a shoulder height of approximately 41 inches, 105 centimeters, a body length of about 5.5 feet, 1.7 meters, and a weight of up to 286 pounds, 130 kilos. How much more terrifying than its size, though? It could effortlessly crush bones with its massive jaws and sharp teeth. The enormous hyena was able to use this skill to hunt prehistoric people, antelope, and zebras. Pachycrocuta, despite its size, was not designed for extended pursuits. It was more likely to have used its terrifying bite and overwhelming physical strength to defeat its prey. This is horrifying enough, but the fact that it would seize any chance to attack you makes it much worse. You might be able to evade a modern hyena, but a Pachycrocuta bite would kill you on contact. You might believe you have a greater chance of survival now that you know Pachycrocuta's one vulnerability. But I take that back because once you hear what this monster preyed on, you'll never want to hear about it again. The late Permian Innistransevia was a terrifying predator with a long, narrow skull that could reach 24 inches, 60 centimeters in length, and a body as long as 11.5 feet, 3.5 meters. How much is it? Very remarkable too, at about 550 pounds, 250 kilograms. In terms of size, this Gorgonopsian was unrivaled. The fearsome Inostrancevia was most characterized by its strong jaws and saber-like fangs, which may be as long as 6 inches, 15 centimeters. Like saber-toothed cats, Inostrancevia could open its jaws wide and bite its prey to death. Inostrancevia was a late Permian herbivore that coexisted with and preyed upon Scutosaurus, a massively armored reptile that weighed 2,560 pounds, 1,860 kilotons. Still, it would have required very sophisticated hunting abilities to subdue people, who would have been paralyzed with fear at seeing such an unusual beast. But nothing made them freak out more than, well, let's be honest, it was a badger, or at least an early badger. It wasn't a little weasel like modern badgers. Mustelid Icarus echocaran stood out during the late Miocene in Kenya due to its massive stature. It weighed more than 100 pounds, 45 kilograms, and stood 24 inches, 16 meters at the shoulder. Because of this, it was much larger than the modern honey badger, about the size of a wolf. Icarus had a distinctive body type compared to other modern mustelids. Unlike lesser weasels, it could run at high speeds on its long cat-like legs. It was a real hypercarnivore, with cat-like teeth and powerful predatory forelimbs that allowed it to kill larger prey like huge pigs, Nyanzachoerus, and three-toed horses, Eurygnathohippus. A badger devouring a steak? That must be an experience you've never had before. On the other hand, what isn't unprecedented? A feline causing fear to people. Up next, we have, about 5 million years ago, Dinophalis, also called the terrifying cat or the false saber-toothed cat, roamed the ancient continents of Asia and Africa. This wasn't the largest cat. It could weigh up to 90 kilos, was 5 feet 1.5 meters long, and stood 31 inches 80 centimeters tall. All that was compensated for nonetheless by its fearsome fangs. You know, Dinophalis possessed enormous canines, in contrast to modern-day felines. Although it was smaller than real saber-toothed cats like Smilodon, Dinophalis was nonetheless a dangerous predator thanks to its powerful physique and sharp fangs. Its hunting strategy, similar to that of contemporary leopards, involved swiftness and stealth to surprise prey, such as zebras and even early humans. It is believed that Dinophalis was among the earliest predators to instill dread in early humans due to its long-established association with hunting and devouring archaic hominids such as Homo habilis and Australopithecus afarensis. In South Africa, for example, paleontologists have uncovered Paranthropus skulls that, when placed next to Dinophalis fossils, reveal peculiar puncture scars that coincide with the spacing of Dinophalis's upper canines. Dinophalis was so powerful that it hunted larger species, such as young mammoths and old mastodons, in addition to humans. It also pierced the heads of its prey. Hunting humans with ape features isn't exactly rocket science, though. But the next creature on our list could hold its own against the largest humans in the world right now. You had better start memorizing its name, since this dinosaur will be one of the most fascinating extinct creatures you've ever heard of. Simbakubwa kutoka Africa, often known as the big lion from Africa, was a roaming predator that lived in what is now Kenya during the early Miocene period, around 23 million years ago. Belonging to the Hyenodontidae family, this long-gone creature was as massive as any contemporary polar bear. Simbakubwa was a genuine monster in its prehistoric environment, reaching a weight of 2,200 pounds, 1,000 kilograms, and a body length of up to 12 feet, 3.8 meters. Its shoulder height was an astounding 51 inches, 130 centimeters. The extinct hyenodont group included Simba kubwa, whose name means big lion in Swahili, yet it had no kinship with modern-day lions. You probably guessed right, these beasts were just as scary as lions. Hyenodonts, which included early proboscideans like mastodons and terrifying jaws capable of shattering bone, were among the most formidable predators of their day. How was it that Simba kubwa managed to tackle these enormous challenges, bearing in mind how heavy they seemed? Its strong bite, supported by an unusually designed cranium and teeth, was one of its most striking characteristics. Simba kubwa possessed 3 sets of fangs with which to slice flesh, in contrast to modern carnivores that usually possess only 1 set. It was almost as if this monster had a butcher's knife already installed. This made short work of crushing bones and bringing down heavy victims. If this were a real lion, it would be absolutely horrifying. If it had been anything like Diego, the saber-toothed tiger from Ice Age, you can bet that it would have been terrifying. Even though they were around the same size, this person was much more terrifying than Diego. Just over 2 million years ago, the Machairodus, or saber-toothed tiger, plagued not just 1 but 3 continents: Africa, Eurasia, and North America. Its dimensions were comparable to those of contemporary lions and tigers at around 6.5 feet, 2 meters in length, and 3 feet, 1 meter in height at the shoulder. Rest assured, once you learn about its fangs, you'll see that it wasn't little. Machairodus was easily recognizable by its distinctive long curved saber fangs, which may be as long as 7 inches, 18 centimeters. Machairodus stood out because of its small eye sockets and narrow head, but it was the long fangs that scared away its food. These saber teeth, which were flattened on one side and broad on the other, were ideal for biting enemies to death. And unlike other saber-toothed cats, Machairodus could hunt effectively with its long fangs because its teeth were firmly set in its jaw. Machairodus was already a fearsome predator due to its venomous traits, yet it was an ambush predator. Prey, especially slower creatures like rhinos and horses, would have been easy prey for Machairodus's powerful jaws and long saber teeth. Even though these creatures weren't exactly prime prey, Machairodus still had to fight against far deadlier predators to get them. Large predators like bears, bear dogs, and other Machairodont species fought for food with Machairodus in the open woods. I did in fact mention bear dogs. In case you're still perplexed, we'll introduce you to one of these scary monsters at the end of this video. Machairodus is certainly one of a kind, but it pales in comparison to— picture a diminutive yet ferocious monster that resembles the saber-toothed Smilodon. Megantereon was a deadly predator that lived in the late Pliocene and early Pleistocene periods and swam over North America, Eurasia, and Africa. And trust me when I say Megantereon is one of a kind. Megantereon weighed around 265 pounds, 120 kilograms, was 4.6 feet, 1.4 meters long, and stood at a shoulder height of about 31 inches, 80 centimeters. The creature looked like a cross between a Smilodon and a muscular jaguar. It had powerful jaws and forelimbs that could inflict vicious, ripping bites. Its distinctive weaponry were its lengthy, hooked saber teeth, which were adapted to sever the necks of its victims. Megantereon used its agility and strong limbs to leap onto its prey's backs and inflict lethal bites on their necks. It killed huge herbivores like gazelles and antelope with these terrifying tools. Crazy as it sounds, Megantereon had a major advantage over its victims because it could climb trees, despite its enormous size. The only way to survive this monster was to be eaten alive as soon as it caught up with its victim. Megantereon would swiftly and efficiently kill by biting the throat with its strong saber teeth, severing crucial nerves and blood vessels. If you're still calmly believing that Megantereon never came into contact with people, I have news for you. It may have eaten your forefathers. Some fossils exhibit wounds made by Megantereon's saber teeth, suggesting that it interacted with archaic hominids. Even if it's not a good strategy, those early humans would have pleaded with Megantereon if they'd ever been ensnared in the clutches of. This long-gone crocodile was named after the late naturalist John Thorbjarnarson. Standing at a staggering 27 feet, 8 meters in length, it was undoubtedly the largest of its kind to ever grace our planet. Stay tuned to the very end of the movie to see an even bigger and scarier crocodile. I say true crocodile because of it. Coming back to the beast in question, its cranium measured an impressive 33 inches, 84 centimeters in length. This enormous crocodile would have been far larger than its contemporary counterparts, looking something like a gigantic Nile crocodile. Crocodilus thorbjarnarsoni, with its enormous skull and powerful jaws, was undeniably the top predator in its surroundings. It dominated a food chain that included early humans and other big creatures. Crocodilus thorbjarnarsoni, which preys on large animals, may have been a scary presence in our ancestors' existence, ambushing unsuspecting humans at waterholes. Bite marks on human remains are one piece of direct proof that this monster hunted efficiently and devastatingly. This suggests that, even in the absence of definitive evidence of its humanoid diet, it may have consumed stones to crush bones in its stomach, which it then ejected. Its strange and horrifying appearance may be enough to outstrip Crocodilus thorbjarnarsoni, but that disturbing reality might make it difficult for any subsequent species to surpass it. The next creature is next on the list, and I guarantee you'll be glad you haven't met it if you find dogs endearing. You should take the name of this ancient monster seriously. It looked like a horrific cross between a bear and a dog. Bear dogs were roaming the ancient countries in the late Miocene, and they came from Eurasia. It was definitely not your average dog. Amphicyon was a predator that crushed bones. It was around 400 pounds, 180 kilograms, 6 feet, 1.8 maximum long, and about 40 in 100 centimeters tall. Moreover, there is more. Amphicyon possessed a robust physique, characterized by a strong neck and formidable teeth. Its jaws were sharp enough to gnaw through flesh, and its skull could shatter bones. Do you know what the greatest benefit of these teeth is? You can devour almost anything with ease. Amphicyon wasn't fussy about what it ate, despite its menacing appearance. Horses, deer, and antelope were only some of the big game it preyed upon. If you want to be a top predator, though, you need a diet that's incredibly tough. The good news is that it won't take you long to find. This horrible Pleistocene beast rounds out the list of saber-toothed predators. I mean, the peculiarity of its look would be enough to make you shiver. The unequal distribution of its legs was one of the most noticeable characteristics of the Homotherium. Homotherium looked more like a vicious predator than a regular cat due to its unusual body shape, which included longer front legs like current hyenas and shorter hind legs. Homotherium, often known as the scimitar cat because of its sharp fangs, evolved specifically for the hunt. From early humans to enormous woolly mammoths, it could kill with a bite from its long curved saber fangs. This predator's hunting tactics are still up for debate, although it is thought to have killed herbivores like bison and horses in packs, utilizing planned ambushes to bring them down. The hunting abilities of Homotherium weren't the only thing that made it terrifying. Standing at nearly 4 feet 1.15 meters, tall at the shoulder, and capable of carrying a weight of up to 550 pounds, 250 kilos is about. This nimble predator was a devastating presence on the prehistoric African plains. It could follow down prey and bite it dead in the neck, thanks to its powerful front legs and extremely efficient breathing system, which allowed it to run at great speeds for brief bursts. It might appear that Homo therium could defeat any species, but believe me when I say that it was fortunate it didn't come across this extinct beast. This monster might be the one to make Homo therium pause and think. Around 10 million years ago, the scimitar bear, a terrifying beast called Agriotherium, struck terror into the hearts of all South Africans. Put another way, Agriotherium was like a little automobile that could walk on 4 legs. Its enormous bulk, which could reach a length of 9 feet (2.7 meters), a height of 5.5 feet (1.65 meters), and a weight of 1,980 pounds (900 kilograms), made it comparable in size to the biggest bears seen today. However, Agriotherium's distinctive qualities were what made it stand out. The slimmer, more agile Agriotherium was characterized by longer legs and a more streamlined face than its bear relatives. Its bite was so fierce that it could easily break bones with its wide, short jaws. It may have had the strongest bite of any mammal during its time, with a force of up to 4,500 newtons. It is quite probable that Agriotherium targeted huge ungulates like horses, cows, camels, and rhinos due to its enormous size and the adaptations that converted it into a formidable predator. Nonetheless, it remained an omnivore, a bear. Therefore, you might be able to get away if this monster was hungry for berries. The following creature would render you speechless with terror, rendering any thought of fleeing completely out of the question. Lastly, picture a monstrous beast that would make even the most docile of dinosaurs, like T-Rex, appear mild-mannered. Step forward, the Cretaceous reptile Sarcosuchus imperator, a hybrid of crocodile and crocodile-like creatures. Thankfully, this prehistoric predator no longer roams the African rivers that it dominated more than 113 million years ago. It wasn't quite as large as T-Rex, but it was still enormous. About 40 feet, 12 meters in length, 6 feet, 1.8 meters in head length, and over 16,000 pounds, 8 tons in weight. I'll explain why it was so much better to T-Rex later on. You see, Sarcosuchus was unique in more ways than just its size. Its jaws could reach 9 tons of force, making them among the most powerful on Earth and allowing this aquatic monster to devour anything that was far bigger than it was. Its fearsome backward-facing fangs were an added bonus. Not only were dinosaurs probably on its menu due to its teeth, but its bite force was even greater than that of T-Rex. Its hunting strategy likely included snatching unsuspecting prey and plunging them headfirst into the water where they would drown. Coelacanths, dinosaurs like Lurdosaurus and Ouranosaurus, and many other prehistoric animals undoubtedly met their demise at the teeth of Sarcosuchus as it roamed the huge river systems of South America and Africa. One thing is certain, entering a safe Africa would be an impossible feat even with a time machine. No matter the time of year you arrive, the moment you step outside, you'll feel the chill. That's because prehistoric Africa was always a place of nightmares. And that concludes it. Which of these prehistoric animals, the dinosaur-eating crocodile Sarcosuchus or the bone-crushing bear dog Amphision, makes you more thankful that they are no longer with us? Post your opinions in the space provided. Also, be sure to subscribe for more fascinating insights into the past if you enjoy learning about prehistoric animals.